not this body. Before birth I existed as ether, not knowing, not feeling lonely, not knowing touch, not feeling love, not feeling at all. I thank this body for giving me my experience of being human. With each new pain this body holds, I marvel at being alive. Yet I am so much more, all contained within this leaky vessel. I know this, when it ends for me in this world, it begins in another. When it ends for me in this world, for me there will be no resistance as I move into another kind of living, another kind of body, for a time again ethereal. So in this lifetime, I thank this body, pains and all, for my existence, this experience of being. Through every aspect of this body's essence lies a peaceful insurrection, occurring when my soul seeks soul-to-soul connection through dense fleshy walls. It's then my body calls and separates spirit with a blinding ego. Thus ego is undone through unconditional loving and compassionate living. Only then I occupy this space with a conscious presence. Life flows in with every breath, then with breath going out becomes a death. Every life has a season. My body will end, living, moving on to a new experience, a new reason to exist. Breathing in, breathing out, I feel a pulse grow like a drumbeat, a Venus flow like a heartbeat, connecting me with the flow of the seas, the moon, the seasons, and all of life. And again I am the cosmos, the eye of the storm. I am the night time and the first light of dawn. I am the goddess, the devil you fear. I am it all, the laughter and tears. I am not this body. This body will end. I am is forever after. Hi everyone, welcome back to In Between Worlds podcast. It's Kathy here again, and I'm here with Connie, my daughter.
Hi everyone.
And it's a Thursday afternoon, and it has been snowing here in Northern Ireland. Like really randomly it's been snowing. Anyway, it's a cold day. It's good to be inside making this podcast with beautiful Connie.
Beautiful mama.
Well, yeah, that is a poem I wrote a while ago when I was in like a very pensive mood, I suppose. And it's deep, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very profound. I think as your daughter, it's lovely and it's wonderful to be with you and you're sharing it with the world. Because I know a lot of daughters and mothers don't have that kind of connection.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of what you do, you're kind of paving the way for me, so
That's
I'm very
lovely.
grateful for that.
Thank you very much, Connie. It's lovely to hear.
It's all lies.
It's all truth. It's hard to write stuff and put it out there, but like Wayne Dyer said, you don't want to die with your song still in you. So you say it, you speak it out, even though your voice shakes. So I put it out there. But that poem, I suppose, I wrote because I do have a lot of pain in my body. I have osteoarthritis in my spine. So at times I could detach from this body, and especially as an autistic person, as you know, Connie, being autistic, we can sort of go out of our bodies easily.
Yeah.
And you have to really fight at being in your body.
I think for a long time in my life, I wasn't in my body at all. It's only recently I've become more aware of that and looking after it.
Yeah, just looking after our bodies. Our bodies are so important because they're the vehicle in which we move around. Because, as I say in that poem, I am not this body. which is like, it's funny too, because when you meet people, you judge them on appearance and other things, how they dress, their hair, everything.
Which is totally meaningless when you
whenever
really
you
get
think
to
about it, because we're not just these bodies.
No.
We are spirit.
And usually when someone's appearance is lacking or whatever, there's a reason behind it, and they're not feeling great.
I remember meeting a guy, and he was really small, and he was bald, and he wore glasses, and he was very short-sighted, but he was a total rock star. And whenever I got to know him, he was 6'2". Really, you could have seen him in any rock band. He was a total legend. And he was so much more than his appearance. So I learned quickly when I was young not to judge people on their appearances. It's so superficial.
Yeah, it's also comforting for yourself. Well, not specifically for you, but for me, you know, that my insides are probably prettier than the outside, so it's...
And you send us, well, this is it. So you've got like a healthy disdain for your beautiful looks, you know, and that's okay, as long as you don't take it too far. So what we are then, we are spirit. You know, they say that, I remember reading somewhere about whenever there's some people, if someone has like a tragic death and they don't actually realise they're dead, their spirit seeks to find another body to possess in a way. So it's because they're so jealous of our experience of being alive.
Poor spirits.
Per spirits, per people that they possess. But that's it. Once we die, it depends on what you believe. I believe once we don't ever die, we just go into, like, there's so many theories of that, you know, but I like to think we exist on many levels. Like, there's so many dimensions to this world that we don't see. We only see 1%.
I think it's less.
You probably, of the spectrum of what's out there. I think butterflies and dragonflies see more colours than we do.
And bees.
And everything.
Even pigeons, like, use magnetic.
Yeah.
Just,
like, imagine that.
Yeah.
But whenever we think of this life and of living, we ought to think in terms of frequency and vibration. That's what creates our reality.
I understand in terms of vibration, like, I remember in science, like in secondary school, and it's probably wrong, so I don't know, but literally everything is vibrating in this world. Like, even solids are vibrating. It's just that the atoms are more tightly bound, but they're still moving.
Yes, everything vibrates.
So, like, literally, it is vibration.
Vibration is a force behind what we put out there. Vibration is a force behind the frequency. The frequency is the rate at which we vibrate.
Oh.
So we need to keep our vibration, our frequency high, because we match our frequency to attract what our lives are. Well, that's what Tesla said. I
think a lot of people, you know better than I do, but it's that, what is the law of attraction or whatever, or that we are powerful beings that can manifest, and we've just forgotten.
Yes, that's it. So we manifest, we attract what we are. So for a while that really bugged me a bit, because sometimes I don't attract the best kind of people into my life. Like, well, the people in themselves are fine. It's just that they're not the best for me.
Yeah. And
we end up not having a great time. And this is friends and other people, or experiences, like even experiences out in the world. And then I wonder if I am what I attract what I am. What does that say about me? But I found out through reading and investigation the answer to that, which helped me, consoled me a bit, and that is that as we vibrate higher, the challenge is more.
Yeah.
So when the calling is high, you get more, because like you have to think that everything is a test, really. We're here to learn, to have new experiences. So the higher calling, you know, what is that? I remember you telling me something the Drew people told you.
Yeah, that we were talking, this is part of the youth group, and I can't, Paul Crystal, that was his name.
Yeah,
he's
part
big
of the
instructor,
Drew.
yeah, coordinator. But he was basically saying, I can't remember the exact way he said it, but he was saying, you know, light casts shadow.
Yeah.
So if you're a big light, you know, there's big shadows behind you.
That's right, and there's always these people that will be attracted to you, and it's up to you how you handle them, how much you let them affect you, and move on.
I think as well, when you're trying to vibrate higher, at a higher frequency, now I know what that means. To be bad, I didn't know what that means for my degree.
No, it's not easy to put into words.
But yeah, whenever you are trying to make the right decision, sometimes, or a lot of the time, the right decision pulls you out of whatever or wherever you are in your world at that minute, and you have to change it, sometimes really drastically, and that's hard.
It is hard.
It's harder than staying in wherever you were.
Yeah, it's very hard. So part of that is because of the rate at different emotions. You have to think that thoughts are electrical impulses, and they go into emotions, and they affect the magnetic field around us.
That's true, isn't it though? I
It
think
is true.
it's like I've read scientifically that
It is true.
emotions and thoughts are electrical impulses.
Yeah, so it's true. So we have to think that so things like peace vibrates at 600 hertz, okay? And love is at 500. I think the highest one is 700, and that is when you reach enlightenment. So definitely not there. Sometimes I'm at peace, sometimes I'm at love. So they're really high vibrations, aren't they? They're really high. But you know what the easiest one is to fall into? Fear.
The lowest one.
Fear. It's at 100, and then anger is below that. So you can see you have to really work at keeping your vibration high.
Yeah, but for me it feels like that. Like it's a constant. You're checking yourself to make sure you're.
And that's one of the things to do, is to constantly check yourself to make sure where you're at, and to look at your thoughts, what's coming into your head, any of those negative self-talk that comes in, you know. Just think to yourself, well, that's interesting, I wonder where that came from, but let it pass through you. Don't get stuck in it and don't ruminate. But you can see how it's easy to be in fear. And when you look at how the world is at this current time, how, you know, sometimes I wonder, you know, why is this happening? You know, why are people doing the things, you know, the wars, everything? But you can see it's so much easier to be in that low vibration. It's harder to to say rise above it. You really are rising above it.
Well, even on Instagram now, like I removed all my news apps from my phone and stuff just because I couldn't bear to look at it anymore. But
that's what you do, yeah.
On Instagram, you know, I follow certain pages, and I'm going to talk about the genocide that's happening in Gaza, that has been happening.
Yeah.
But there are videos of children, you know, like 11, 10-year-olds who've lost everything, who are living in rubble at like just total war zone, like who are sitting around playing, you know, like even if it's just for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like they have found that ability in total ruin.
Yeah.
To raise their vibrations, even if it's just for a brief time.
Yeah, and that's how we survive, isn't it?
Yeah, and you just think, you know, if those people can do that, then so can I. Sitting in my lovely house with my dog and my mum. Yeah.
So what you do then is you turn off the news. Don't watch those things that pull you down, that scare you, that remind you of all the bad things that are happening. That's two things you've talked about, is turn off the news and then being aware of where you're at. You know, the self-talk, those negative voices that you hear, you know, in your head.
Yeah.
Just remember to stay in that higher part. So, yeah, that's really important. I think we are, you know, like people say, you become conscious or you become aware, but the thing is that we are consciousness. That's what we are. We're pure. We are, the universe is consciousness, and we're expressing the universe. We are expressing, we're living these lives expressing, the universe is living through us. Mm-hmm. We are pure consciousness.
It's a huge, profound thing to say. That's Ram Dass's not line, or his quote, we're loving consciousness, isn't it?
Is it? You tell me more about that. Can you remember?
Well, I just off the top of my head, I think it is.
Yeah, well, that's lovely.
It just is what it says it is.
Yeah, Ram Dass is a really good teacher, or was a really good teacher.
I think the only thing that worked for me in being able to not be in that dark, low vibration, was being just 100% present in the moment.
Yeah.
And not going anywhere else.
Yes. So it just makes me think of Masaru Emoto. He was a Japanese guy who did experiments with water. And he found that when you think of it right, we're 70% water. And the planet is 70% water. So water is a big thing, isn't it, in this world? But he found that if you he did various tests, and he found that by sending negative thoughts to water, changed the component of the water.
The molecular composition.
Molecular composition, that is the word I was trying to think of. Yeah, so it changed it. So whenever you're thinking, they were sending thoughts in this experiment to the water that were really negative, like I hate you, you're ugly. And they looked at the composition under a microscope. It was very distorted, uneven, jaggedy, crystal, not even a crystal form, like just awful dark looking things under a microscope. But whenever they sent loving, healing, any thoughts of love or healing, anything really positive, the crystal formulation of the water changed and it became beautiful. There's a lady called Veda Austin, and she does a lot of experiments where she freezes water. She will maybe look at a picture of an angel and then try and say angel, beautiful angel to the water, and then freezes it at that second. And when you look at it under the microscope, it has a picture of an angel.
There you go.
It's a really big thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it just these are scientific things, so it just shows you how powerful our thoughts, our words are that we put out there.
Yeah, it feels like we're, like as a species, only at the very beginning of understanding that, even.
Yeah, well, they say that
so much more.
There are a lot of geomagnetic storms.
Mm-hmm.
And X-class flares and M-class flares hitting the Earth now, but they're big bursts of light hitting the Earth. But what is happening is that we're changing. Our structure is changing with these flares. And we might experience them, as not being able to sleep, pains in our body, just, feeling uneasy. But to go with it, because this is all part of our...
There's nothing we can do change it anyway. Like, so.
But it's a good thing. It's we're upgrading. We're becoming more light.
Yeah.
Pam Gregory, who's an astrologer, would talk about becoming, what is it? Homo luminous. That's what we're turning into.
That would be nice.
That would be lovely, wouldn't it? So all this is part of a change is coming, and one of the big things that's going to happen on the 8th of April is a total solar eclipse. And we're not going to be able to see that here in Ireland. That's going to be seen in America, which is a very big thing. I don't know what that means, but I know that total solar eclipses are permanent endings and new beginnings.
Hey.
So it's a big, big day that day. We'll be able to see that as a partial solar eclipse, and I think it begins at 10 in the morning and it peaks at 11 and it ends at 12.
That's quite long, isn't it? I thought it would be much...
Well, yeah. Like, I don't know what it's going to be like in America. It's going to be... Imagine, like, what
I would find it a bit freaky, I think, to see in real life.
It is a bit freaky. Like, there's definitely big changes coming in 2024.
I remember watching years and years and years ago, remember the scientist Brian Cox?
Yeah.
With the beautiful skin and the soft voice. He was in India. He went to the river Ganges to watch the solar eclipse. I think it was the last big one. I remember it was huge. There were like thousands of people. So I can't remember what was said, but it was a huge spiritual, significant time, you know. It wasn't just a solar eclipse.
The only thing I would say about solar eclipses or any eclipses is, you know, it's not good to be out in them, directly engaging with them without some kind of spiritual protection, because anything that takes the light, steals the light, will take your light. So, you know, if people are going out to look at this, you know, make sure you're protected. And that's just a feeling I have.
How would you protect yourself then?
Well, you whatever protection you use, crystals, intention, just imagine a wall of light around you that is impenetrable and nothing can get through or steal your light. So one of the things that we can do, knowing about frequency and vibration, is that we can ask for things into our life. We can manifest whatever we want. It's not as easy as it sounds.
No.
You have to see it like you have it. You have to feel it like you've got it, you know. One of the things I would say is that if you're ever having a really good time, or, you know, even if you're with your dog and you're feeling really loving, or even if you wake up in bed in the morning and you're cozy and you feel really good, any of those times, try and stay in that moment when you're really happy and use that vibration that you're in to ask for what you want in the world.
Yeah. I remember, so I'm going to talk about myself again.
Talk about yourself, that's what we're here for.
Whenever I first started going to counselling and really looking inside myself, really for the first time, like properly as an adult, I started doing inner child work with a lovely woman called Diane. But I remember there was one night I think I was lying in bed thinking, and I was thinking, no, like I'll be a good parent to my inner child, you know, now that I've got this all sorted, you know, I feel like I'm good, like I'll be able to do this. And I went and I told her, and she was like, that's good, you know, that's a wee glimpse. Now you've got that and you can remember that and you know that that's possible for you to feel like that. And at the start I remember that was useful, like even just to have the memory of feeling powerful, not powerful, but
you are
powerful enough, you know, to...
Powerful in that moment.
Yeah.
And capable of anything.
Yes, yeah.
So use those times whenever you're in that moment. Stay aware. Use those times and attract in all the things that you want. So I think it's important whenever you're attracting things in, always to put this adage to it, and that is, You say, for the highest purpose, for the good of all beings, in the most highest way. And that way you've covered all your bases. So I think we'll end it there. What do you think, Connie?
Yeah, that's good.
Well, thanks very much for being with us in this podcast, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Sláinte.